You finally made the decision. You are going to move to France. Congratulations on that. Now comes the organization of everything that will need to be done before your big move and once you've arrived to France. In this video, we are going to talk about the most important steps you will need to follow in order to have a smooth and enjoyable relocation. Hi, I'm Esther. I'm the founder of Let's Paris Relocation and Let's Get France Expat Services. Moving to France or to any new country is a very exciting yet challenging experience. You will need to find a place to live and navigate all the necessary administrative procedures. In this video, you are going to have a detailed guide of everything you will need to do before making the big move. First and foremost, before starting your move, you will need to inquire about your visa requirements. This is a very important point because the type of the visa you will choose will impact a whole lot your life in France. You will want to make sure to take the time to understand which is the best visa type for your situation. If you have the time and patience, you can absolutely do it alone because you will find a lot of very useful information on French government websites. If you would like some assistance on that, you can get in touch with an immigration lawyer or a company who handles visa applications. I would advise you to contact Allison Lones, YourFranceformation team. I will put a link in the description so you can go to their website and book a consultation with them if you wish. The second most important thing is housing. The French real estate market works in a very unique way, so you want to make sure to understand its dynamics before starting your search. Let's see the basics. The most common type of housing you will find in cities are apartments. You can also find some houses, but obviously this is very rare and it will also be more expensive. Houses are more available in suburban and rural areas. What should you choose? Should you choose furnished or unfurnished? You will want to understand the basic differences between furnished and unfurnished, such as prices, lease types, and rules of termination of the lease. I made a video on this subject that you can easily find, and you will have a more in-depth explanation of the differences between the two types of furnished and unfurnished apartments. Then you will need to explore the rental prices in the area where you are wanting to live. You can do so by going on very popular online real estate websites such as Socializing, PAP, or even Le Bon Coin. Make sure to do an extensive research because rental prices can vary a lot between cities and even between districts among one city. How much is a security deposit in France? Your security deposit will depend on the type of the lease that you are going to sign, how much agency fees you will pay. If you're renting through an agency, you will probably pay agency fees. The agency fees in France are kept by law. You can never pay more than 15 euros per square meter for primary residence. This can be different for rural areas or big cities, but the maximum is 15 euros a square meter. I also made a video about costs related to renting in France that you will find linked up here. So how utilities work in France? Utilities are often not included in your basic rental charge. You will want to make sure to budget for electricity, internet, gas, and heating. Make sure to understand as well that when renting a house in France, your utility bills will most likely be higher than if you were renting an apartment, because obviously nothing is included other than the base rent when renting a house. How do rental contracts work in France? What's the typical duration of a lease? When you're renting a furnished apartment, the typical duration of the lease is 1 year. For an unfurnished apartment, the typical duration of the lease is 3 years. However, as a tenant in France, you have the right to terminate your lease anytime during the lease term. You will have to respect certain conditions, but you can do so without having to pay any penalties to the landlord or to the agency. You will simply have to send a registered letter and respect your notice period. What will you need to prepare before starting your apartment search in France? This is a very, very important step. In order to be considered as a potential tenant in France, you will need to make sure to build a very solid and very strong rental application file. So what's a rental application file? This is basically a folder that you will need to build to show that you're financially stable and that you have a stable income and that you will be able to pay comfortably your monthly rent. In this rental file, you will need to include the following items: your work contract showing a monthly income that covers at least 3 times the rent that you are willing to pay. You will also need to show your last 3 payslips, as well as your tax returns, assets, and ideally your rent receipts from your previous rental apartment. Most of the landlords and agencies will ask you to have also a guarantor. This is a person who co-signs your lease with you, but probably if you're an expat, you don't know anyone in France who would do that. If you need, you can go and apply for a private guarantor such as GarantMe or Smart Garant. These are companies that can be your guarantors and can be paid to co-sign your lease with you. They take a certain percentage of your annual rent, and I made a video about this subject, so if you want to know more information, you can just click on the video that I linked up here and understand how these private guarantors work in France. Building a solid rental dossier is a non-negotiable if you want to rent in France. In France, landlords prefer a very stable income over significant savings. They want to make sure that you're able to support yourself and to pay your rent comfortably each month. So now that you have your rental file ready, where should you look for rental properties? The first and best way of looking for rental properties is obviously online. You can go to the previously mentioned websites such as Socializing, PAP, Le Bon Coin, and you can even use the application Jinka that gathers all the rental listings online. Then you will want to make sure to call the agency. Don't send messages, they will probably never respond to you. You will call and explain them your situation briefly, make sure to tell them about how much you earn and when you would like to take the apartment. In most areas of France, competition is very high as the real estate market is super tense. It's not rare that for one apartment, more than 50 people will apply. This is the reason you want to make sure to call as soon as you see the listing appear online. They will in any case ask about your financial situation. This is a very normal thing in France, and you should tell them about your income and your assets, because if you don't, you probably won't even get granted a viewing. If you want to explore more options to find a rental apartment in France, you can also join some expat groups and some local Facebook groups where you can post what you're looking for and see if anyone has anything to offer. Sometimes private landlords also are in these groups, so you might be lucky enough to find an apartment by using one of these expat groups or local Facebook groups. The third option is hiring a relocation agent. If you're interested in our services, feel free to schedule a 15-minute discovery call with us to explore your housing needs. Once you schedule the viewing, you will go and see the property. Make sure to prepare this appointment and think about all the questions you would like to ask the landlord or the agency. You will probably not be granted a second viewing, so you want to make sure to know everything about the property during the first viewings. You can also ask the agent to take pictures and to take a video. This will be very helpful later to have this video and have these photos on your phone, because sometimes you will only be able to see the apartment for 5 to 10 minutes, which are usually not enough. If you like the property, make sure to submit your rental application file as soon as possible and follow up with the agencies at least every 2 days. When moving to France, you will also have to think about opening a French bank account. It's an essential step because you will need your French bank account for basically everything. You will have to have a French IBAN number, which starts with FR, in order to set up your utilities, pay your bills, and even to use with administration and social security. You can open a bank account with a traditional French bank, or you can also use an online bank. The most important thing is to have an IBAN number which starts with FR. Your next important step is health insurance. When you're living or working in France on a regular basis, you have access to French social security. However, make sure to keep your health insurance from your country or set up a private health insurance while waiting for the French social security to be set up. Once you arrive to France, you will need to make sure to register with your local authorities and inquire about your tax obligation to avoid unpleasant surprises later. Now to the fun part. When moving to France, most people also want to learn French. While most of the French people speak English, it's a very different experience when you can speak with them in their native language. And it will also help you with everyday tasks. You can join local groups or find local tutors to learn French, but in most of the cities you also have language groups where you can practice French together with locals and with experts. If you prefer online classes, I would advise you to start using Preply, which is a great way to find a private tutor at great prices. If you're interested, you will find a link in the description. Public transportation is a great way to move around in France. If you're going to live in a city, You won't even need your car because public transportation can take you basically anywhere in no time. When arriving to a new country, it's a very important thing to socialize and to find new friends. You can do so by joining local clubs, going to group events, and explore your new local community. You can also use the Meetup app, which is a great way to meet like-minded individuals and people with the same interests as you. By understanding all these steps, your transition and relocation will be very smooth and enjoyable, and most importantly, stress-free. If you need any assistance, we would be glad to hear about your project and your plans on moving to France. You will find the link in the description to book a 15 minutes free consultation with us. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new today. Make sure to comment and like this video. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Au revoir!